each had 26 for Philly, while James Harden had 13 points and a game-high 5 turnovers. All right, Shannon, I know Skip's going to have a lot to say about the 76ers. Let me start with you and the Celtics. Did Boston win or did the 76ers lose?
Well, I thought Boston should have won the game a lot earlier, Skip. They jumped on them early in the ball game, got up to as many as 16 points in the second quarter.
They did.
But give the Sixers credit. They found a way to fight their way back. The Sixers, you got to be kicking yourself. Jayson Tatum had 1 point at the half. He had 3 points at the end of 3 quarters. And so you're like, okay, what are we doing here? And, Skip, Jayson Tatum, whatever term you want to use for saying bad, he played like some stir-fry. He was awful. He was terrible. As unbelievable. But for 5 minutes, he played like one of the top 5 players in the world. And that's what he did, Skip. He hit a step back three in Embiid's face. And I'm like, dang, he kind of shot that with confidence. Body language looked a little different.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, let's see how it goes. And Skip, he came down and shot another one. And it was like his body was glowing. I said, Sixers, y'all better be careful. Because I've seen him look like this before, Skip. We've seen him look like this before, where he's like, you know, he always, his favorite player is Kobe. And we saw Kobe hit a couple of shots, and he like grow and grow and grow. And you saw that with Jayson Tatum last night. I said, man, Sixers, man, y'all better come on now, he feeling it. And guess what? Every time down the court, no matter who, they give him the ball, and he started doing his thing. He started working his magic. 4 of 5 from the three in the fourth quarter, 4 of 8 from the field, 4 of 4 from the free throw line, 16 points. He outscored the Sixers by himself. Skip, the Sixers are going to be kicking themselves. And you and I talked about this a little bit, Skip. I don't know. If they lose this series, I don't know if Doc's going to come back.
I agree.
We're going to talk about this a little later. Monty Williams in that same boat, Skip.
Same boat.
Back-to-back years.
Same boat.
You've been down 30 at the half.
Agreed.
Skip, if I got to be honest with you, I'm going to say the Sixers lost this game because I'm going to say Boston won. Boston jumped on them early, and we saw this, Skip. The home teams think, no, well, we home, we good, we got the crowd. What happened? Both teams came out lethargic. Both teams found themselves down by large margins. Now, at least the Sixers were able to get themselves back in the ball game. The Suns never could.
No.
So I'm going to say the Celtics won this one, Skip, because they came out with an intensity.
Yeah.
And even though I was like, well, Jayson Tatum, damn, are you going to do anything today? I was like, how many? I said, I've never seen a guy, Skip, a superstar. Now, I consider Jayson Tatum a superstar, not the tier 2 superstars.
Yep.
How many times are you going to go over?
I don't know.
At the half, Skip,
I don't know.
We talked about this for the last 3 games.
Again and again and again and again and again. I got it.
And then guess what he did? He looked like Michael Jordan. He looked like Michael Jordan in the fourth quarter. Because without him doing his heroics, Skip, they're going to lose this game. It's about to be 4-2, and Philly's going on to the Eastern Conference
Final. I don't know. I'm not sure they would have lost. I think we'd be in the 10th overtime right now because Philly wouldn't score. They just keep doing nothing to nothing overtimes.
Yeah. I'm going to say, Skip, all that. I'm going to say the Celtics won this ball game. The Celtics won it because they jumped on them earlier, even though they couldn't maintain the lead. The Sixers fought their way back into it, but it was Jayson Tatum. The last 5 minutes, 38 minutes, he was terrible. Awful. Dog poo, diddly poo, whatever poo you want to name. Horse, cow, whatever. But for 5 minutes, he was sensational.
Yeah. I'm about to unleash on the Philadelphia 76ers. I hear everything you said. I think you were leaning toward Sixers blew it because in the end, they blew it.
They were home.
They were home.
And you got the MVP.
You got the MVP. You got everything you want. You're in charge. You're in control. You got the momentum. You got it all. And speaking of poop, you human pooped all over the floor. That's what it was. It wasn't dog or horse or cow poop. You human pooped all over the floor. I'm not sure I've ever seen a worse collapse under the circumstance of, at that moment, Jayson Tatum, first team All-NBA, was 1 for 14. At the point of their self-destruction, he was 1 for 14. Yeah. The blame should be spread around like manure all over everybody. And I'm going to start with Doc because you brought him up. Doc is famous for saying it's a make or miss league. Shannon, the more though I agree with that premise, the more I think about Doc saying it, and he said it again after the game last night, it's make or miss. It's almost one of the all-time greatest excuses ever made by a coach, because he's just shrugging and saying, don't look at me.
Right.
They're either going to make or miss the threes. And I got it. That's basically what happened in the end for the Sixers, because they got a bunch of open three looks and they just
couldn't knock them down.
Upchucked. But, Shannon, the coach has to have some responsibility for what's happening.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe there's a timeout that needs to be called. Maybe there's something that needs to be said in the huddle. Joe Mazzulla said he told Jayson Tatum, I love you. Okay, maybe that was it. I don't know. Jaylen Brown kept yelling at Jayson Tatum, just keep shooting, they can't guard you. Okay, something has to get said, and it has to start from the head coach. Doc tends to just fold his arms over there on the bench and has his body language is, don't look at me.
Right.
They're the one. I can't play. I used to play. I was pretty good, but I can't play anymore.
That's that Phil Jackson.
Okay.
You remember Phil, they'd be going, and Phil just like, okay, y'all figure it out, Michael, Scotty. Okay, figure it out, Shaq and Kobe.
Okay, but he had.
But you ain't got Shaq
he had
and Kobe.
Michael, and he had. Okay.
You ain't got them.
You don't. You do have the MVP.
Yeah, but
he can be a little wonky mentally. Like, he comes and he goes, and sometimes he's plugged in and sometimes he's not.
he got a little frustrated last night because they wouldn't get him the ball.
Okay. Some of that is his fault. I'm going to get to that in a moment. Now to James Harden. I told you yesterday when we made our predictions, I'd picked the Sixers to win this series in 6. But I don't trust James Harden. And last night I concluded about James Harden because I kept asking you the questions along the trail. Is he just an evil genius, or is he just a flat-out choke artist in the biggest games? Shannon, he's a choke artist. If you look back, and we're going to go deeper into this later in the show.
Okay.
But if you go back and look at his biggest games of his career, I'm talking about the make-or-break games, not the game 2s or the game 3s.
Right.
I'm talking about the 6s and the 7s.
Okay.
The ones that really matter to your legacy. He's a choke artist. He shrinks, he folds, he can't hold on to the basketball. And last night, he was horrendously bad. Remember what Doc said after Game 5? He said, James was a magician tonight. Well, last night, he was a magician, an amateur magician who got exposed where the cards are falling out of his sleeves, right?
Well, he made a win disappear.
He did. He made a win disappear. He was terrible. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer because he's been an MVP in this league.
Yeah.
And he looks terrible. And I don't know if he just hits the wall physically where he just runs out of gas. But I'm going to break it down. This is the way I saw the collapse last night. And I'm going to start with a play that occurred with 5:57 left in the game. Tyrese Maxey, whom I love, steals the ball from Jaylen Brown.
Right.
And he's off to the races, and Jayson Tatum just reaches and grabs him, and they have to go to the review. And it's, it's a clear path. It's a clear path, if we could see this play. And clear path means he's going to get 2 free throws and the ball. Here he goes, and Jason really had no choice but to just grab him, and Tyrese is saying, that's clear path, that's clear path. And they had to go look at it, but they say, yep, it wasn't a take foul, it's clear path.
Right.
Then they screw up completely, and they let Joel shoot the free throws, and then they had to stop the play and let Tyrese go back and shoot the free throws. And to his credit, he went and stood there by himself, and he made both the free throws. Okay, so it is now Philadelphia 83, Boston 81. You were up 2 with 5:57 left. That crowd is lifting the roof off that place.
They are.
You got them. You got them on the run. Shannon Sharpe, would you believe that from that moment forward, down the stretch of this game, the home team got outscored 14-1. There was one late basket by that kid Springer who came off the bench in sheer garbage time and played 30 seconds and made a 16-footer. I'm not counting that.
Right.
I'm talking about when the starters were on the floor and the game was still in question. As a home team in a closeout game, you got outscored 14-1. The 1 point came from Maxey missing his first free throw later, and then he made the second. That's all you got.
Right.
And obviously, Jayson Tatum finally caught fire. But they had chance after chance after chance to just put it away.
Yeah.
Where it wouldn't have mattered if he'd caught fire or didn't catch fire. And I'm going to show you their missed shots down the stretch, because you tell me what you're seeing here. Are these make or miss shots? Because it starts out with Embiid. He misses like a little 7-footer here. Okay, one of these, you got to make these shots. Okay, that's a little jump hook. He's got to make it. If you're the MVP, you got to make it.
He normally makes it.
Tyrese, this is at the shot clock, and he misses it wide right. And then James pulls up at the clock, and he misses wide left. And then here's Embiid. That's his last shot of the game at 3:56 left. And then Tyrese gets another fairly good look and airballed it. Okay. And then here we go again with James, and that's to tuck in the corner. Okay.
Short.
Yeah, and he wasn't ready for it.
But you can feel the pressure. Yeah. That's really short.
Yeah, and then James ends it with the turnover. Okay, that's the
they didn't turn over. They challenged it because they called a foul on Horford.
They called a foul, but it
challenged it. He went
up being a turnover. Okay, so here's the point. If we could see that play again, I'm not sure we could pull it back out, but the James play, the pivotal play is that James Harden, at 2:26 left, drives into the lane and looks like, silly me, I think he's got a little floater, like it's a pretty open shot.
Right.
And at the last second, he kicks it to Tuck in the corner, who's not ready for it, because he's like, me? You're the guy?
Right.
And they played together for years. They know it. And it's like, wait, you want me to shoot this shot? Shouldn't you be shooting that shot? Because it's a crucial miss. And he quick triggers it from the corner and didn't even come close to it.
Right.
Okay, so Joel says after the game, Doc echoed the sentiments, we got to play more through the big fella. Okay, it's up to the big fella to just demand the basketball. And it's up to the magician, quote unquote, point guard, James Harden. It disintegrated just the way it did in the previous, the overtime game that they won. Mm-hmm. They're going back 2 games. Remember, in the fourth quarter of that game, they scored 15. Last night, they scored 13. It degenerates into James Harden dribbling while Rome burns. That's what he's doing. He's just, and it just, you saw, he's just dribbling, and he's dribbling. I'm saying just go, initiate, force it, attack, make something happen. You can't wait until 7 seconds are left in the shot clock and then have Joel come out and screen high for you. Nothing's going to happen where you're going to get an open shot except for something that you're going to force up at the clock. Mm-hmm. It's no good. Where Doc has to stop it. He needs to tell James, just attack. As soon as you dribble across half court, go with it. Maxey was completely out of the flow, and he would get the ball late in the clock like, what am I supposed to do? I think I'll jack up a 3 and I'll airball.
Well, that was the problem, though, Skip. I mean, a lot of times James was dribbling the shot clock down, and he passed it to the guy with 4 seconds. Like, well, hell, what you want? You just had it for 20 seconds.
What do you want me to do? Because it's dribble, dribble, dribble. It's almost like I'm watching, like back in the 60s or 70s when college teams would stall it out.
Right, yes.
And like the 4-corner North Carolina Dean Smith offense with Phil Ford running. Remember this?
I do.
Okay. Well, we got a shot clock now. In those days, there was no shot clock. Remember North Carolina State upsetting Houston in the 83 championship game?
In Albuquerque.
You can keep the score down in the 50s because you can just dribble the clock out, right? You can just keep dribbling. Okay, so you can't do that in this game, which is great. It's the way it should be. Okay, so speaking of make or miss, you know the record this year, and we talked about it yesterday. The Celtics are 35-2 when they make 40% or more of their threes. Yeah. Well, I think you said yesterday on the show, well, probably every team's like that. It's 40%. But the Celtics are live or die from the three-point line. That's just what they do. So if they make 15 of 35, that's 43%. Yeah, and they got a real good shot of winning the game.
Yes.
Okay. Meanwhile, Philadelphia goes 8 of 34. That's 24%. Well, you got a real good chance of losing the game. Okay, now to the flashpoint. Jayson Tatum, when he makes his first 3, what time is it? It's 4:14 left in the game. We're all the way down to the 4-minute mark of the game. Mm-hmm. This man is 1 for 14 at this point. That's no good. And that was a key reason that Philadelphia was still in the game and actually had the 2-point lead with 5:57 left.
Yes.
But at 4:14 left, to his credit, he's like, I'm just going to shoot another one. And it was actually the highest degree of difficulty 3 that he tried. And maybe that took a little pressure off, like, boy, this is a tough shot. This isn't a wide open look. And he made it over a closing out Embiid.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, once you do that, it's like, I'm that guy. And he said after the game, what was his line?
Humbly.
Humbly, I'm one of the best players in the world. Well, he is one of the best players in the world. But
Well, you were playing like it for the first 38 minutes.
And I'm going to say it again. The reason I think he's slightly overrated, I don't want to take away his shine today because he did what he did, but he has too many of these. It's just there are too many nights when he's 1 for 10, then he's 1 for 12, and then, okay, did he get going? Yes, he got going. But the point was they were starting to smell blood because they were in trouble, and then Philly couldn't cash.
Right.
And at some point, they're looking at each other like, well, if they don't want it, we'll take it.
Right.
And Jayson makes that one, and then he comes right back down at 335 and goes right up on Maxey, who's about 6 inches shorter than he is, and he made another one.
But you knew, but on that one, Skip, you kind of know he started to feel it there.
Well,
because he's shooting it now, he ain't even thinking about it.
I got it. So the first one at 4:14 put them up a point. The next one on Maxey puts them up 4 points because Philly's not scoring at all.
Right.
They're not scoring at all. They got 1 point over the last 6 minutes of the game.
Right.
And then really, he missed 2 more. He missed 2 shots after that. He got blocked one. Really missed 3. He got blocked once by James Harden.
And I don't know when he's that layup, that reverse layup that he tried to like, bro, come on now. I know you feeling it outside, but that was a little ridiculous.
Then he missed a mid-range jumper. Then he missed another 3 before, at the bitter end of the game, he made 2 more threes. Shannon, the game was already done. So the 2 that mattered were those 2 at 4:14 and 3:35 because so few points were being scored by the home team that all you needed to do is make 2 threes, and you are going to win the game. They had to win the game, obviously, or they're going to get closed out.
Right.
But obviously, they knew we could go back to Philadelphia.
Right.
I mean, to Boston. And get Game 7. Okay, the other thing that happened last night, this is a home team with a chance to do something that's very special in their lore and their legacy and history. Shannon, look at what happened. They got out-rebounded 50-38.
They put Robert Williams into the starting lineup.
And I give Joe Mazzulla, because I've been hard on him, because I'm not sure about him. He's a first-year head coach. Okay, that's a strategic move. That's like, Doc, you got a counter? And Joel said it didn't matter to me. Yes, it did, because they put a bigger human in there to bother him
and then when the double came, it came with Al Horford and Robert Williams.
Okay, and it bothered him because they kept him to a low roar last night. What did he wind up with, Joel? 23? Yeah.
26 points?
26 points. Yeah. 20, okay. But he did, remember, he scored 52 on them in the last time they met in the regular season. So if you can hold him down like that, well, for that matter, look at what you held Philadelphia, the best shooting three-point team in basketball in the regular season and the best free throw shooting team.
Right.
You held him to 86 points. And Joel got 10 rebounds, but remember, he averages 12 free throws a game, so he gets 8. Well, that's a win for you because he goes 8 for 8, but he didn't go his usual 10 of 12.
Yeah, Skip, but the fourth quarter, you look at the Sixers, 5 of 20, 0 for 8.
Yeah.
They got crushed on the glass. Boston had 16 rebounds. You had 7.
Yeah.
So how many second chance points, how many opportunities, how many cracks are you willing to give somebody before they finally hit you over your head and get you out of your misery?
Okay.
Because that's what that was. They just kept getting rebound after rebound after rebound, and you're not doing anything when you do get the ball on the other end.
You're not.
And so you're right, Skip. But I just thought to think, like, when because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the Sixers had gone up by like 4 or 5 points.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, you need to go ahead and put them away. Jayson Tatum had 3 points through 3 quarters.
Yep. Okay.
He had 5 points with like 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. And you don't have any more distance between you and them?
Nope.
You're asking for trouble, because the one thing we know about a great player, they can play horse manure for almost the entire game.
Absolutely.
And get hot and shoot you out of the gym like Jayson Tatum did.
Okay. Obviously, if at the 6-minute mark, Philly had just poured it on.
Yes.
If they'd made 3 straight shots after the clear path foul, and all of a sudden they're up 8 or 10 points, well, then it won't matter.
Right.
You would show them, no, we got this.
I think that's what Joel was getting frustrated by. They kind of went to a zone. They was in and out of zone. They were doubling with Big Al and Robert Williams. And he was like, hey, just give me the ball. That's the time in a situation like that, Skip, I'm going to get something really, really good, and it's going to come off the hands of 21 for the Sixers. Joel Embiid's going to touch the ball.
Okay, but you can't just lob it to him over on the wing and expect him to create a shot.
No.
That's not what he does.
No.
You got to have some kind of
pick
pick and roll action.
Yeah.
And it's got to happen immediately.
Right.
You cross half court, he comes quickly, we go.
Right.
Or you get some other action involving Maxey.
Right.
There's some way to get more open shots instead of just disintegrating into this dribble.
It was almost, Skip, like they're trying to bleed the clock and get a bucket with like 2 seconds on the shot clock.
Yeah.
No.
You know
just
what? That's playing not to lose.
Yes.
That's what you're doing, and you lost.
Yes.
Okay. This is interesting because it applies somewhat to what the Lakers are going to go through tonight. I still say, and you disagreed with me the other day, I believe in these situations, the pressure is more on the home team because the home team knows if we don't do it now, we got to go back to their place. So game 6 becomes their game 7. The Sixers have not been there and done this. I love Tuck because he's been around, but he's not at the highest. I mean, he's won championships.
He's going to do the little things.
He's going to do the little things, but he's not the lead. He's not the offensive leader.
Yeah, you're not going to get 12, 14 points from Tuck in a game like this.
And as you know, if you're going to be the voice on a team, you have to be able to back it up on offense where you have to be a factor, and he's really no factor because some games he'll score zero. Okay, so you can't lean on him to lift up the whole team because he doesn't have the game to lift up the whole team.
Okay.
So the point is, they got in a situation that they'd never been in before. James Harden has a long history of just choking his guts out. And here they came in a situation where the pressure mounted and nobody could buy a shot because, hey, you want to talk about your throat getting tight? Yeah. It's going to get tight in this situation because Boston Garden. We got to make a shot. Yeah. Our fans are almost willing us home, and we can't get home.
Well, after you go about 3 or 4 times without making a basket and they see Boston making shots, all of a sudden the fans get antsy. They might start to throw a boo in here and turn the ball over.
They were starting to boo because that's what they do. And in this situation, I couldn't blame them.
Boy, Doc really needs to win this game 7, Skip.
Well, now he's 6 times. He's in danger of, for the 7th time in his career, blowing a 3-2 lead. And he's never won a game 7.
And he's always Skip. He's had the he's had the blown the most 3-1 leads.
Yeah. This is no good.
This will be really bad.
Right.
Mother's Day is going to have a lot of awesome NBA action. Can Jayson Tatum carry that momentum over? We'll find out, guys. All right, moving on to the other game from last night. Ooh, this one felt like it was over really from the jump. How did the Suns go down in flames last night? They were really, truly not competitive last night. Plus, will LeBron send Steph Curry packing tonight?
Yes.
Better.
Don't forget, you can check us out every day on the Fox Sports Channel on SiriusXM. Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Subscribe here to get the very latest from Skip and Shannon. Plus, go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.